We all know, don't we, that of course the current British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, is literally no fan of the British monarchy. He's been very vocal about that in an unearthed interview. Of course, as I said many times before, these are the people that the minute there's an offer of something, well, for them, that benefits them, then there they go off to the palace, more than happy to be touched by the mighty sword, as you can understand. But Sir Keir Starmer, who's currently on holiday, while meanwhile, of course, London, the United Kingdom freezes, all thanks to his government removing the winter fuel allowance. Well, things are now taking a turn for the worst. And this is going to be particularly damaging because, quite frankly, this hasn't happened in, well, I can't even remember when. Decades, maybe centuries. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you. Thank you so much for your time. We'll have a lovely wave on this very chilly day here in London town. Absolutely. I hope you're keeping warm whatever you're doing, and I say that genuinely because, you know, it's difficult, isn't it? It doesn't matter who you are and how you can afford the heating. As I said the other day, these people relish telling you that you already owe the money before it's even the end of the month. Do you get that? Seriously, it really angers me that, you know, because it must create anxiety if you're struggling and you're thinking, "Oh, you know, what will I do?" And you make ill-informed choices because of the fear that they're sending through, and they can get right at you, can't they, on your phone or your computer? You know what I'm saying? Because nobody ever speaks to you now, do you? It's a little bit like this particular developing story with His Majesty the King and, of course, his current British government, headed the Labour Party by Sir Keir Starmer. To put it mildly, this is an absolute shambles, and the latest backlash is this woman, Jess Phillips, an MP for Yardley in Birmingham. Basically, she's supposed to be looking after the security and everybody else, and of course the bigger story is this. You can see it on your screen. Basically, she doesn't think there needs to be an investigation into the Oldham grooming gangs, which is catastrophic, let me tell you, and so heart-wrenching to read, and those stories about the terrible situations that those young girls found themselves in. Now, when she was in opposition, Jess couldn't wait to get behind this campaign, but a little bit like the waspy women, you know, Sir Keir Starmer, Sadiq Khan, all the rest of them, dumped them simply for votes. That's the only way you can describe it. Now, many people over here literally think that His Majesty the King should dissolve Parliament. And this is going to play very badly for the monarch. Let me explain. You see, years ago, as we all know, and centuries gone by, the king, you know, or the queen at the time were very powerful and literally could maneuver the government. Technically, they still can. Now, here's where it gets really twisted, because the billionaire owner of the platform X, formerly known as Twitter, Elon Musk, has actually called out His Majesty the King online and said, "You need to dissolve Parliament. This is a shambles." Now, why is this catastrophic? Well, it really is, because as we now know, he's part of the inner circle coming in for the 47th President-elect, Donald J. Trump, in a matter of days now over in America. Now, whether you agree with Mr. Musk or not, the bottom line is he speaks for many over here, and this will simply put a lot of pressure on His Majesty the King. This is sort of reaching out to the people in a way that hasn't been seen for years. As I say, our British Prime Minister is currently sunning himself on holiday because he's had a very strenuous 6 months. Forget the people that are continuing to struggle under his tutelage so far. And as I also pointed out, Three Homes Angela Rayner, well, she's not too fussed either. She can flick between all those three heated homes with servants and many more things. So as this government plummets from popularity for the likes of people like Jess Phillips and the ridiculous Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson, who basically says we should remove most of our history and make it more inclusive, how long has this government got? And more importantly, will the King intervene? And even more importantly, if he doesn't, how bad will that be for his reign? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.